Well, I do have captain skills, but I don't have upgrades. So.
So I can tell you the captain skills. Is
Yeah,
the
I see them.
Okay.
Do you have
And
any
the
upgrades on the
upgrades.
ship?
Yes. Oh no, I don't have any.
You don't? Okay,
Yeah.
so this is accurate
Sorry.
then.
Yes.
Ouch. Okay. Why didn't
I
you
mean,
put upgrades?
I kind of get
I
it, to be honest. It's a rental ship, right? And if you don't, you have to pay for them. If you want to save credits and you're actually not a CV player, like even if they get demounted for free after the rental period, if you don't play CVs, you're not going to use them. So you're just wasting credits.
Right.
And for a test mode in a rental ship, I don't really
Yeah, that's
blame
around my
anybody.
answer. I play like 2 hours per day, so I only do randoms. I don't do like ranked battles or that much. And I
Okay.
said, well, I'm not gonna try the new battle mode. So, but I think there's a mission where you need to play this ship 5 times, and that was
Yeah.
the reason I played.
Okay. So let's go to your captain build then, and let's take a look what you've done here. So you went with improved engine boost, improved engines, aircraft armor, site stabilization, air supremacy, bomber flight control, okay, and survivability expert, and then finishing up with proximity fuse. So you're trying to basically be very strike oriented, doing a lot of damage with your bombs and your torpedo bombers, right?
Yep.
Okay. It's a pretty good build. I don't know if there's anything special I would do differently here. You could try for torpedo bomber. It's useful for American aircraft carriers.
I personally wouldn't run with this build, but it's not bad.
Looks fine
Okay.
to me.
I don't
I
like
think
the
it's fine.
proximity fuse on the American carriers,
Why?
because it's not your main plane type to use on those type of ships. And
You're talking
investing
about
of
the bombers?
the torpedo bombers.
Right, but you're saying the HE bombers are the primary weapon.
They are the main one. Yeah, I wouldn't take the proximity fuse because the torpedoes are not the main armament, so I wouldn't invest a 4-point skill for them.
Okay. In my opinion, the reason I like the American carriers so much is because I feel like the torpedo bombers are useful. The HE dive bombers are by far the best, but both of them
They are
are
useful.
useful.
But
So I'm okay
I
with
would rather
this.
take the torpedo bomber over the 4-point skill. I would
I
rather
mean-
go with the arming distance over the.
So, okay, so that's fair. He could do that, and then what does he do? Buff the torpedo speed? They're slow torpedoes anyways. He could also do this one.
You could do the heal for the planes too.
Yeah.
I would rather do those two skills over the proximity.
Okay.
And
Let's
I
get
would
to-
also take pyrotechnician over sidestep on American ones. I don't.
What? Really?
Sidestep is not that great on the American carriers.
Alright. I mean, it's a 3-point skill for a 1% chance
5
for
on the
rockets,
bombers.
and then 5% chance for HE bombs. Okay. Alright, well, let's get to the replay, and let's see what happens for ironmillos' game. Now, ironmillos, you said you were just playing this just to finish the mission. You didn't really care too much about this game mode itself, correct?
No, I don't care too much about that. I mean, I like it so far when I try it, but I don't. I want to get experience on the ships that I'm grinding.
Fair enough.
Little empty drop to preserve some planes. Don't hate it.
That's fine. I know you're new to CVs, but typically you'll lead with rockets just to get better scouting. Dive bombers is okay here though.
I like it on this ship particular because you, especially on this map, because you can mine up this gap, which I hope he's doing here.
Yeah, mining here would be perfect. Actually, right here, I would drop the mines. Right
Yep.
here. Because you want to prevent the Indroct, the Nelson, the Kagura from going into sea. Mines are a great area denial weapon. So that would be very useful. The other thing is, personally, especially on the larger maps, I've actually found using the torpedo bombers first is the way to go, because I want to know where the enemy is going to go first, and I don't want to waste my dive bombers just scouting, because personally I run into strong anti-air ships and lose most of my planes in the process because of that.
You usually use the rockets for that because they are the fastest planes and they are the least valuable ones.
Sure, you could do that too. You could absolutely do that too. I like using the torpedoes because you just never know if you're going to be able to pull off a torpedo strike on something early on. But otherwise, yes.
So,
Look, it's like you
guys
listen.
are, you guys are right. I was coming here just for the mines,
Mm-hmm.
and what I tried to do, like, to do at the start of the game is in the battle screen. I tried to see who has the least AA, and I
Aggro?
didn't want to see these guys, the cruisers. I didn't want to see them,
Yeah.
so kind of I like panic on that last part.
Yeah, you
But,
could see the
yeah,
panic on that last second of the drop. You yanked your reticle over.
Why
Honestly-
not drop an arrow?
I would have rather dropped the Kagro too. I completely understand the drop on the indirect, especially if you are not a carrier main. Making Stevie sleep on a torpedo is cat abuse. I have a bigger torpedo that I can hit him with, but we've done that before. Just putting it out there. Actually, I think he really likes the torpedo. Because he can cut it with it, or he can sleep against it.
Why not both?
Mm-hmm.
And here I realized that on one flank there was only one BB from my team, so I figured there has to be one BB from the other team. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna pre-drop because I know the battleships have bad AA, so I
Mhm.
wanted to use all my 4 of them.
Here it
See
was a
what
little
can be by
bit too
himself.
early on the heel.
Well, so he used the heal so that he didn't lose the plane, but the irony is you're going to lose that plane anyways with that heal. As we talked about in the last replay, you're better off using it once you're over short range anti-air, or if you take a flak puff. If you didn't take a flak puff, you will still be able to get 1 torpedo plane off, if not 2. But because the Zeton's turning and the Cheshire's in range, you just gotta drop right away and pray. There you go.
It's kind of hard to get 3 full strikes of River Torps in the Concorde
Yes.
Bridge. Because the
Absolutely.
planes are weaker than on the Lexington, and they take a bit damage.
I think
Right.
It
you
might
did
have
a
worked
good
if it
job.
was really just the battleship and the heal was used a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. Like getting 2 drops off in the third one. What I like to do is if I know that after the second drop I only have 2 planes left, I usually just recall. Because if you don't, you might get the drop off, but you're pretty much guaranteed to lose both planes.
Why are you going for the Cheshire here?
I was going for the mines, not for the cruiser.
You wanted to mine up the channel, and you were able to drop the mines and hit the Cheshire at the same time.
Yeah, but you're costing yourself so many planes, and that is 4 ships right there. Your planes are going to explode.
I like the
I-
idea of trying to hit a choke point. I feel like you could have maybe dropped closer into the center of A and lost less ships in the process. Because remember, there's a time delay before the mines are active.
Yeah, that's the problem with mining the choke point while the ships are already in the choke point. They're
Mhm.
just gonna clear the path before the mines actually activate.
Right.
Yeah. And these ships don't have much anything else better to do, so if they just spam ASW, your mines are not going to do much.
I don't
Fortunately
know,
for
does
you,
it-
it's a new mode.
Cheshire have
Yeah, they didn't read the
plane-based
instructions.
ASW or ship-based?
My bit
all,
on
of them,
the
all of them is airborne.
Okay, Ironmillos, go ahead. What do you want to say, sir?
my bit on the mines is the fact that it does force you to slow down and pay more attention to them. So even if you're acting as either area denial or you're slowing the enemy down, it's still proving of use. The only difference between, like, say, Kakaku's smoke rockets is the fact that the bombs are not as expendable.
I mean, I would agree
see-
with that. I think the difficulty is for the mines, unless you are hitting mines and getting those mine hits, you don't feel like it's useful. But I agree, it's very useful otherwise. It's like scouting with a destroyer. We don't think it's useful in terms of the game XP, but it is, right? That's what gets you the win.
Actually, like, if you drop them right over the ship, they do not have to slow down. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Because it takes 40 seconds to activate. They can just
Right.
pass right through the minefield. They don't have to bother with them at all.
That's the difference. Synop went right through those mines, and that's why I said closer to the center of A would have been more useful. But that's okay. If ironmillos is learning the carriers, hey, there you go. I do like the pre-drop idea. You'll get one strike on the Synop, and that's it.
Yep,
Okay.
that's fine.
Using the
And of
mines.
And
The
unfortunately,
only,
that's the last
the
one.
only issue with that mine drop here is that half of the mines are over the island.
You have
Other
to
mines.
anticipate that the Synop is going to either go into the channel or keep going straight. If the Synop immediately turns away, most of that minefield is wasted. You won't even hit probably one mine. Fortunately,
That's
the
okay.
enemy Synop sits broadside and dies, so there you go.
It basically means he can't chase the enemy, your own Synop. And it doesn't
Correct.
matter because he decides to choose broadside.
You actually have tiny TEM rockets that are effective against battleships, and I think you need to incorporate that in the rotation here, just to preserve more planes. Like, you're already super low on your torpedoes because you're using them so much.
Kind of like what I said in the last replay with the AP dive bomber, same idea, right? Cycle your planes more so that you've got other squadrons available when needed.
And where should I aim with the rockets on a battleship? Like
You still
Upper
want
belt?
to aim for the superstructure, just
Yeah.
to be sure that they hit. Against cruisers, you can probably aim for the upper belt. Like, they are tiny TIMs, they penetrate
For cruisers, just
68
aim.
millimeters, I think.
68.
You just have to lead them enough because there's a large delay.
So you've got 5 mine hits after you're deploying all of your mines available. I want to mention real quick, when we're talking about minefields and their effectiveness, like we said earlier, there's a lot of other factors that go into how effective mines are. The other thing is, we've discovered in playing this mode that mining carriers' positions is actually a very strong option. So when the Concorde Bridge and the Kaga were together, you very well could have dropped a minefield on both of them and just laughed because eventually they will hit mines.
And if they don't leave, the mines still detonate and do damage.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
Okay. I didn't know they did detonated when they ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
And because their depth charges are ASW and auto, they don't target mines. They'll only target sub-activity.
Correct.
For now.
Now.
They want to change that, but for now
So-
they don't.
Oh, whatever, but I mean, for now that's the feedback, and that's something that ironmillos has learned. And others may be in the stream as well, which is awesome.
You didn't need to recall that. I think you could have gotten the second drop off.
With the planes going around, maybe not. So I understand the idea to recall.
Right.
And yeah, you should really be using your rockets. I know dive bombers is your favorite plane type, but give the rockets a little bit love too. They can do damage.
The only issue is right now, you probably won't have enough dive bombers for another strike before the end of the game.
Also,
That
I don't
one-
know if this is a replay bug here, by the way, but
That's-
you need to.
that did not
if
look
it's
like a
if
replay
it's
bug.
not a replay bug, you need to initiate your runs a little bit sooner so your reticle has a chance to shrink down.
Hmm.
I have
Yeah.
not seen a single drop yet where your reticle was fully shrunk. Again,
So-
it could be replay bug, but
You're right. I don't aim that soon. I think it could be because I play the other CV that I play is the German one. I think with the AP
Okay.
bombs. And those I drop
Yeah.
a little bit early.
Right.
Be coming,
Um,
could be coming from there.
this is an example, though, like, alright, so you're gonna drop on the Colorado. You'll note that you lost 2 planes before you dropped, so you only had 2 planes worth of bombs dropping on the Colorado. The 3rd plane died, and that's because you attacked with such a small squadron. And here's where if you had used your rocket first and then your dive bombers, you would have had a full strike on that Colorado. He could have died right there.
Like if you look at it this way, if you use your rocket planes and you're in the air 1 minute, that's pretty much almost 1 additional
Yeah,
plane regenerated of your other squadrons.
right. I mean, ironmillos, you said you are not a carrier main. So, I mean, this is stuff that will help you in any carrier you play in this game, not just this game mode and this type of carrier, right?
Yeah, for most
Like-
of the carriers.
Like right here now, you want to attack the Kaga, but you only have 3 planes. You're gonna
Works.
lose that 1 plane immediately. You might
You
lose the
lose one.
second.
Nah, you're fine.
Nah.
You're getting the second. Don't lose the second.
Got the boost
It
going.
just comes down to aiming,
Mhm.
which is a little bit on the forward side, but good enough.
Hey, it worked. It worked. Let's take a look at the end screens here. Looks like you didn't have any boosters running. You came in 3rd place. Not bad for carrier.
It's actually nice because, like, if you compare this to the Kikaku game before,
Yeah,
like, he got much more damage in the Concorde Bridge here. And
you
it
did.
it almost looked effortless, whereas the Kikaku really had to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
How much mine damage?
Let's take a look.
I expect 40 or 50k.
16. 5 mine hits for 16k total. You deployed 807 mines. That first minefield, you got nothing. You got mines off of the one by A, but you only hit a few of them. I think the 3rd minefield you didn't get anything either because the Synop died by your Synop showing broadside to him. So, okay.
Nice torpedo hit rate.
Torpedoes.
13 out of 17. Mm-hmm.
I really thought the first minefield was gonna be.
Hold on. 58k to damage to torpedoes? That's way too high.
Are you sure? Remember, he's got the ability to negate 10% of the enemy's torpedo protection, right?
What do you mean it's too high?
I feel like that's a lot more damage I expect for each individual Lexington Concorde torpedo. Unless I'm not remembering the alpha.
Each of these torpedoes on the Concorde Bridge deals 6,500 damage.
Hmm,
Okay. So that sounds actually about right then, doesn't it?
okay. A little bit higher than I thought.
Okay.
The really
Um,
surprising thing here is that he has so much more damage on the torps, but in the bombs. But that's because he used the torpedoes so much.
I think
Yeah.
for new players, they're easier, probably.
I was just going to say, I feel like you did a better job of using your torpedoes than your bombers. The problem with this mode is, when you're using your bombers, you have to think about when you use your mines and when you use your bombs at the same time. So you're kind of distracted a little bit there, versus torpedo bombers, you just go straight in, right?
It makes sense, especially if you have played other carrier lines. Like,
Mhm.
sure, the torpedo speeds are different and you need to lead more of one nation than the other, but the basic principle of the torpedoes is the same for all nations, so that's what you're familiar with.
Right.
But if you're coming, like you said, you play the other carrier you played were the German ones with the AP dive bombers, yeah, those are completely different than the AG bombers you find on the USN ships. So it makes sense that it's not completely intuitive how to use these bombers and get the
Mhm.
most out of them.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, well, here's your replay render. Iron Meals, do you enjoy the Concorde Bridge? Is this a carrier you would play again if you had a choice to?
Yeah, I mean, from the two that are in this battle type. This one is the one that I like the most. And after being on stream and asking a few questions about mines, I thought that was interesting about like how can I deny. My first mine drop, I thought it was gonna be a little bit more game changer because I said, okay, either the DD goes through and is by himself,
Mhm.
and then my 3 ships can push,
Right.
or the cruiser pushes through my minefield and dies, or not dies but gets some damage.
Right.
Sadly,
It
none of
worked.
that happens.
No, it actually did kind of happen. Like, your minefield prevented the Andrecht from following up on the destroyer. Like, even if you didn't get any hits or so in it,
Yep.
you forced them basically to split up.
And that goes
So
back to the part I was saying where there's no easy tangible way of saying is it working or not, right?
Like, you don't necessarily need to get the hits with the mines for them to work or do something.
like on my second drop, I thought it was good. I thought when I was dropping them, I thought, okay, I had on the previous game, I had dropped them on the island a little bit further, the little one,
Mhm.
and because the cruiser was staying there behind it and just spamming. And that was my plan. I thought that cruiser was gonna go there, and I said, okay, I'll just put it here, and that way the cruiser has to leave. And
I-
else, I'll help my Sinop not to die so fast.
You're talking about A, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if you had dropped him right at the center of A, you probably would have walked away with 3 or 4 more mine hits than you did.
Possible,
Because the
yeah.
Synop just went straight through them, you know?
For the last mine, the one where you mined the Synop and he exploded anyways,
Mm.
I think you're better off just using a bomber to kill him as normal.
Don't try to force the gimmick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
You could have
That's
just
the
bombed him as
beauty
normal.
of this USN one, right? You can just use your squadron normally without using the mines there, and then you can immediately launch the same squadron again if you want. If you decide, oh, I do want to deploy the mines, which is
Right.
something you can't do with the smokes on the I-chain carrier.
Right.
Also, what's really nice is that the overall playstyle between this is basically the same as the Lexington. All you have is like slightly weaker torpedoes, and you are forced into the Tiny Tims instead of the HVRs. Otherwise, it's the same ship, and it plays the same way, and you just get the mines on top of it.
Right. Okay.
Thanks a lot for the feedback, guys. And I may play a little bit more carrier because I did enjoy this game.
It's a dirty drug, isn't it?
Are we
Yeah, and like
the birth of a CV main?
Hey, thanks for sending it in. Thanks for supporting me all this time on the channel. Appreciate it, man. It's good to see you. Thanks for jumping in the voice channel too.
no problem. It's always great to see you stream. Bye bye, guys.
Adios.
Take care.